Hello, my name is Shirley Self and I'm here to talk astrology. And today I wanted to introduce you to a very interesting moon phase 20, one Oscar Pistorius, a South African man known as the Blade Runner. Let me introduce you first to a moon phase 20. Let's review this. Here's 20. The 20 and its mask 6 benefit from because they follow a 19 and 5 who are of the power rectangle, who've actually got their act together and are taking it out into the world to do their best. And moon phase 20 and 6 benefit from this action of 19 and 5, which is often excessive action in the wrong direction. Moon phase 19 and 5 are not secure in their understanding of their new power. They are experimenting with it, and mistakes will be made. But 20 and 6, its mask, are greatly benefit from 19 and 5, and are virtually on cruise control. And that is their issue, self-control. They are finding, 6 is finding its own niche, it's trying to focus its talents into its own particular spot in the world. And 19 is trying to make a difference in the world. What 19 and 6 pretty much are about is the pursuit of justice in the world. They're here to further the cause of justice in the world. Well, look at where 20 is. It's right up there in the middle of Sagittarius, and which is all about justice. It is ruled by Jupiter, and it partakes of the Aries decadent, and so it is a warrior for justice. What it will find, especially moon phase 20, is that there is that moon phase 20 will suffer in common with other people, and what they do with that, with their power, which is tremendous, and is to further the cause of healing for whatever their issue is. Moon phase 20 is that strong sense of justice, and I can make a difference in the world, is what's supposed to keep moon phase 20 on track. But it is a search for power, and we have had a wonderful, beautiful example of the excesses of moon phase 20 in the Republican Party of the United States in their search, their seeking for power. They slide right off out of heaven into hell, and this was also the case of Oscar Pistorius. Let me see what I can tell you else. If I can tell you about moon phase 20, their body of fate is technical skill. Their creative genius is self-definition. 10, moon phase 10 is an iconoclast, and it is as in you don't get to tell me who I am. I get to tell me who I am. And so all of these people here are warriors, and they are virtually all of them fighting for justice, or as 10 and 24 are fighting to become just people. 20 and 6 are fighting for justice, to bring justice into the world. They want to make history. They break down barriers, and they are moon phase 20 and 6. This is their card. They are seeking temperance, which, as you know, is the right combination of events to keep the world on an even keel. Their creative genius and body of fate is strength. Now this card is ruled by the sun. You can see that in the Leo. It's ruled by Leo. And it is a card of that connects in the Kabbalah, connects Mars to Jupiter. It's across the top of the square that holds the sun as its center. So the issue with 20 and 6 is to not go too far. Their energies are focused virtually outward, whereas these energies are mostly focused inward on what I have to change is me. This is 6 and 20. What I have to change is you and the world. So, excuse me? Okay, that's a moon phase 20. One of the rectangle of extremists. And so here we have the Blade Runner. He has, let me introduce you. Let's, Aquarius rising. And so his ascendant is ruled by this, Saturn here, and the Uranus here, and is virtually ruled by the Jupiter. So his this chart is ruled by Jupiter. He's got the Neptune is here at Capricorn, and he's got Sun at 29 degrees Scorpio, 44 minutes. This is almost a Sagittarius, but it's the last degree of a sign is called an anaretic degree, and it's very difficult. The problem is, and I've got a couple of them, and my Mercury and my moon are in the 20. They are not in the 29th degree. They're in the 29th degree. This is actually in the 30th degree. Should I, round it up, it would be 30 degrees of Scorpio. Anyway, what I've noticed and what I've discovered in my studies is that degree feels like it's almost too late. On the edge of a cliff, something's got to change really quick. It's an anxiety-producing degree, whoever and whatever is there. So anyway, we've got this really wired man at a 30th degree of Scorpio. His Mercury is retrograde. His Venus is retrograde. And they straddle the Pluto in Scorpio there. This is right across the midheaven. This was a very public man, a very public life lived, a very, and up there with all that power could make a tremendous amount of difference in the world. The South Node is up there. The South Node is ruled by this Venus in Scorpio retrograde, and it's in the house of athletics. It's in the Sagittarius house. Fortuna is up there, so the Fortuna, wherever you find your Fortuna, is kind of this is where you'll make your money. And we come around here, he's got Leo on the cusp of the 7th, and he's got the moon for Leo there in the 6th house. And one of the interesting things about this moon is that it was out of bounds. And so emotional reactions in this young man have always been extreme. He's got Chiron down here in Gemini, and it is exceedingly important because it's right down here is the balance point for all of this. the Chiron in the fifth house of the sun's own house of creativity shows the wound there. And we'll talk about that wound in a minute. The spirit, this is the part of spirit, which is the demonic ascendant. Now, the difference between the demonic ascendant, and I do not mean demonic, I mean daemonic, you know, your guardian angel, the guy that runs your life in spite of you. The demonic ascendant is down here in the fourth house, on the cusp of the fifth, in Gemini. And it is, you know, it's, you find these guys together. So when you find your Fortuna, you know, the other calculation that coincides is the ascendant, the demonic ascendant. And it's always important, because here's how you're going to make your money, but this is what your daemon really wants you to do. Okay, and we've got the North Node down here in Aries, in communication. And he's ruled by this Mars in Aquarius, which is, let me tell you what I know. That would be the North Node there. He's got this powerful Jupiter in the second house of money, and I think money might have been really important to him. I think money might have helped him to feel safe. Because let me tell you about Oscar. He was born with a lack of bone structure in his lower legs. And so he had surgery just before he was a year old. And he was given prosthetic legs. And that's prosthetic legs right here that virtually made him whole. This Neptune rules all your prosthetic devices, all your fake stuff. And it's in Capricorn. So it's ruled by this Saturn in Sagittarius, which allowed him to run. That's Sagittarius. Gemini may walk, but Sagittarius runs. Okay, where did I want to go next with that? Okay, this guy has 6 fixed signs. And that's an intense belief in himself. And it showed when you saw, I saw videos of him running. And actually I watched a series on Netflix that talked about Oscar, and was exceedingly interesting, and that was what got me interested in the young man, because I had to know the horoscope of this phenomenon. Okay, so he has that intense belief in himself. You'll find that with Leo. Whatever you've gotten in Leo is it feels like you have the right to do it. That's the nice thing about the sun. A sun in Leo is wonderful, because it feels like it has the right to do whatever that sun wants to do. And I've always envied that, being a sun in Aquarius who's never sure about anything. Okay, and having a Pluto in Leo. The Pluto in Leo generation that is slowly dying out, they have the right to kill, to murder, to destroy. And you'll notice that when Pluto went into Leo around 1940, my birth time, that's when destruction got really massive and out of control, virtually. And all of these Pluto and Virgo people who are now taking charge of the world are have to try to fix it. The Pluto and Virgo. That's a powerful, I would think, Pluto to have. It means that Pluto, ability to repair, ability to heal. And I think that that's what we need to do anyway. he has 3 planets in fire, and that is also the moon. And so the moon didn't need those other planets in fire to help him become emotionally impulsive. And it's a 6th house thing, so it's a problem. One of the things about this emotional, easily triggered, was that when you saw him run, he was off the blocks so fast. And so in a way that was a real advantage to him, to be easily triggered like that. He had 5 water signs. So that's the thing about water signs, is they make you self-protective, intensely self-protective. And it's also supposed to give you empathy for others, and it does. And he did have empathy for others, but not enough to turn him to do his spiritual, follow his demonic ascendant, and to focus his energies on communicating what he knew to others who suffered as he did. He did a little bit of that. And what he did was made a huge difference, I think, to the few people that he contacted. But his focus was this south node, and that's proved to be his undoing. He had only one heir, so there's no objectivity, objectivity about yourself. No ability to analyze the self and say, well, I did that, and what was the result of that? There's just an awful lot, because of the fixed signs, just self-acceptance and an unquestioning desire to push ahead. This lack of air also gave him problems with relationships. You know, relationships very much focus on air, you know. Your friendships, Aquarius, your intimate relationships, Libra, your siblings, Gemini. It's all about relationships. And he was not good with relationships. He, the sun at 29 degrees of Scorpio, ruled the descendant of intimate relationships. So it was all about him. And I can understand that, you know. Supposing you've got a child and he's born with this disability and has to have his feet cut off just before he was age 1. And just before he was age 1, the moon had progressed to the 13th degree, and there it squared the Mercury. And that was when his feet were cut off, and he was started out in prosthetic legs. That's when he got, here's the inconjunct to the prosthesis. So he's got an awful lot going for him. Mercy. The Venus and the Neptune are in sextile. The Venus, Pluto, and the Neptune are in sextile. And that's tremendous luck. And it was interesting for me to see that there was the Araby part of bad luck was at 10 degrees of Scorpio, right on his midheaven. So it's a mixed blessing up here, all in all. He's got you see this sun square his Mars, and this is the will, and this is power, and this is a grip on will power. He had a powerful will. And remember, this is his creative genius, his body of faith, strength. ruled by Leo. So, let's see what else I got. Okay, now we, one of the things I really need to emphasize here about this, I mean, this guy took very little to set him off. He never relaxes. He never relaxes. This whole thing is ruled by the Jupiter, which rules the everybody. He never relaxes. He's always on. He's always striving. And always hyper alert. Always hyper alert. Anyway, the Chiron. He's got this Chiron, and it's in opposition to the Uranus, and that is a real strong thirst for freedom. And freedom for him was the prosthetic legs. To see him without his prosthetic legs was to feel pity, just pity, because they were fairly, he walked on them, but I wouldn't call them functional. He could walk, he could not run. And this has got a 165 to Neptune. And that seeks almost a magical power to change what looks unchanging, what looks impossible to change. And he did that. He did that. He had such a busy horoscope. You'll notice that the nodes are direct. And this is karmic issues. Karmic issues need careful handling. And that really highlights this Chiron. This Chiron says, dude, what you need to do creatively is talk. Talk to people. People need you. You could make a difference. And he could. He could make a huge difference. He could change people's lives. And the few people that he did talk to, and it was about kids, you know, who lost their legs. People who lost their legs. All his interactions with these people were wonderful, and virtually his job, according to his daemon. So much going on in this chart. Anyway, on February 14th, 2013, he murdered his fiancée, his lover. A beautiful, beautiful woman. And it was incredibly sad thing to have happened. Now let's look at the events of that time. The transiting Venus, and notice his Venus is a very, very powerful, but she's retrograde, and she's in Scorpio. So you might call his Venus debilitated. And that debilitated Venus, I don't know if you could ever satisfy her yearning. I mean, Venus in Scorpio, tremendous amount of yearning. But you put it retrograde? Oh my goodness. Anyway, the transiting Venus was a conjunct his ascendant. The transiting Saturn was conjunct his Mercury, his Transiting Saturn was right there at, I think, maybe 11 or 12 degrees. The transiting south node was conjunct his Chiron. And so they were, right there is saying, karmic lessons, pay attention, the bell has rung. So what happened was that he was sleeping with his lover, and of course he did not have on his legs. Something awoke him, and he got up and moved around the fans. It was hot. And he moved the fans that were in the window and maybe turned them off and maybe closed the window door. I think it was a slider, maybe, onto a balcony or something. And while he was messing up with the fans, he heard something in the bathroom. He heard a noise, a kind of a in the bathroom. And so this alerted him, and he immediately went for his gun, and shouting to his lover to call the cops, call the cops. And he runs to the bathroom, and the door was closed, and he shoots through it 4 shots, and he shoots her right in the head. Now you look at that and you say, what the hell? Well, you look at all of this that says this guy goes off half-cocked. Actually, he's always on alert. He is, and he's vulnerable. Without, look at the vulnerability here. Without this Neptune, he is not the Blade Runner. He is a pathetic cripple. And so while he had been messing with the fan and closing the window, she had gotten out of bed and gone to the bathroom and moved something in there that made the noise. Maybe moved the trash can or something. Anyway, he goes and shoots her, and in the trial, they talked about the neighbors hearing screaming, and it became apparent that high-pitched screams were heard after the gunshots, not before the gunshots. So the high-pitched screaming was virtually coming from Oscar and not his lover. I've forgotten her name. She has a lovely name. Anyway, here's what happened to Oscar. He went on trial, and unlike O.J. Simpson, who had Johnny Cochran, I think, as his lawyer, his defense was unable to make the case understandable to people. And here's what really happened. Was just like O.J.'s trial. It was publicized. It was very public, very public. And it got people all stirred up, and in a nation in which men brutalize women quite regularly, there was an awful lot of anger stirred up against Oscar. And as with O.J., it seems like the influence of the public became more important than the evidence. And O.J. was let off, and he was convicted. Well, at first, he was sentenced to manslaughter, but and that's happened. The shooting happened as Saturn was here at 11 degrees on the midheaven. And the sentence, he was sentenced as Saturn to manslaughter as Saturn hit 19 degrees of Scorpio. But when it was increased due to public outcry, as Saturn, he had a Saturn return, and public outcry, the judiciary voided his manslaughter conviction and sentenced him to 13 and a half years. This was quite some Saturn return. Anyway, he's been in prison all this time, and he was recently released as Saturn crossed this Jupiter. He was released a year ago in January of 2024. He is still not free. He is still not free. South Africa still hates and fears him. And he had so much to give. But he pursued power. His best relationship, where was that? He's got a Juno up in here somewhere. His best relationship was with his own potential athletic ability. He needed to learn to meditate. He needed to learn to calm down. He needed to learn to sing or something. But he needed to once he had what he had, which was wild acclaim, he needed to take that. It was power. It gave him power, public power. And he needed to take that public power and give it away. Give it away. Give it to people who needed it. Tell them. Inspire them. But, and this Jupiter also could have made him greedy for money. Money, you know, was insulation against the outer world, and he was terrified of the outer world. This sun in that terribly anoretic degree of Scorpio gave him no recourse but to fight, and never pause. Anyway, that's Oscar Pistorius. He, like I say, they turned him loose, but they didn't turn him loose. He is under house arrest, and I don't know how long that lasts. But I can't imagine him ever being able to freely roam through South African society. Anyway, I hope you are all well, doing well in these chaotic times. Remember the times of chaos are times of opportunity. So look for yours. It is also an incredible time of breakthrough. I am 85 years old, and thank God I've got astrology. I recommend astrology for not only checking out what the world's doing, but checking out what you're doing. Because as I remember things, and it seems like that's old age is full of remembering things, I analyze these things astrologically. And I think it helps a lot. I come to compassion and understanding and forgiveness. This book that is available, it's available at Amazon, but here's what I recommend. Instead of funding any more of Jeff Bezos, do this. Go there. And you can order the book, and you can download this. This is not available from Amazon. This is the spinner. And this spinner helps you find what your moon phase is. And let me tell you, I wish I'd had it long ago. But anyway, that's Emergent Education /books/phases of the soul's development. And you can find it there. And don't forget the spinners, what's important here. Because after you found out your own thing, you're going to want to find out your mom's and your dad's, etc., etc. And the thing is that if you know a birth date, you got it. You got it. You can find out where the moon and the sun are, and you'll find it close. So you can figure out close. Remember, the moon only moves like 12 to 13. That's average. Moves 12, 13 degrees a day. So you can work with the moon. And I hope you're well. And one of the things that I am realizing in my old age is I didn't tell the people that I loved them often enough. So I'm trying to make up for it. And I hope you don't become negligent in this. Take care. Bye-bye.